After making the final four of both the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, yet failing to come away with a trophy, it's going to be hard to convince ourselves that Season 2 of our realistic Crystal Palace career mode wasn't a disappointment. However, realistically, if we look back over our season, we made the final of one cup competition, made the semi-finals of the other, and we are all but guaranteed to improve our league position from last year. And we still even have a chance to finish in the top half. That means we could conceivably still achieve all 5 of our custom objectives we set at the beginning of the season. So with that in mind, I think we have to be happy despite the defeats in the cups with how things have gone. But if we are going to complete that final objective and finish in the top half of the Premier League, that means we need to overcome a 9-point deficit to take 10th place away from Aston Villa, which means we need to take as many points as we can from the 15 that we have remaining. So I'll show you highlights of our opening and closing games of the episode against Bournemouth and against Tottenham. We will host Liverpool at Selhurst Park in the featured game of today's episode, and I'll show you highlights of our games against Leicester and against Leeds in the meantime. And stealing 10th position away from Aston Villa wouldn't just be important in terms of achieving that final objective and moving the club forward, but it would be absolutely huge in terms of our transfer policy heading into Season 3. Our reward for finishing in the top half would be to sign a player between 82 and 85 overall, which would give our squad a huge boost in our quest for European football. But if we fail to finish in the top half, we can spend no more than 10 million on any individual player heading into Season 3. So despite the disappointments of recent episodes, it is still all to play for here as we close out the season. And speaking of closing out the season, we are going to be checking in on the final standings and statistics at the end of the season. We will be promoting some additional players from our youth squad into the first team, and we'll be handing out some awards including Fans Player of the Season and Goal of the Season. But first, we've got those 5 games to get to right after a word from today's sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Enigma Football, the UK's leading supplier of football shirt mystery boxes just like this one. Enigma stock a wide range of football shirts from clubs from the Big 5 European leagues, from lesser known teams around the world, and even from national teams as well. And you can be 100% certain that their shirts are authentic because they get them straight from the clubs and the manufacturers directly. Their mystery boxes start at just $34.99, and they can be as random or as customized as you like. Of course, you need to specify your shirt size, but you can also let Enigma know if there are any teams or leagues you would like to avoid, if there are any colors or designs that you would prefer, or you can just leave it entirely up to Enigma to choose for you. Enigma had a very good idea of what team I would like to receive, so they sent me this season's Crystal Palace shirt. This exact shirt on the Crystal Palace website would have cost me £60, but if you receive it in a mystery box, you get it almost half that price. And you can knock that price down even further by using code LAMSY at the checkout for a 10% discount on all first orders, including the first month of a mystery box subscription package. So if you're on the lookout for a Christmas gift for the diehard football fan in your life, or if you just want a fun and affordable way to expand your own shirt collection, check out Enigma Football. The link is in the description, and be sure to use code LAMSY at the checkout for 10% off your first order. Shout out to Enigma Football for sponsoring. Now let's get back to the video. So we're happy to welcome Joe Bellingham back into the starting 11 for our trip to the Vitality Stadium to take on Bournemouth. Milan van Ewijk starts at left wing back for this one as well. There wasn't too much going on in the opening half an hour or so of this one. Luca Koleosho firing wide from just outside the box, one of our few opportunities. And Bournemouth didn't have much going for them either until Justin Kluivert dropped this beautiful ball over the top of our back line for Evan Nielsen to run onto and open the scoring. And from there, Bournemouth did us something of a favour. Tyler Adams seeing red for 2 yellow card offences in the first half. But despite the man advantage, we still couldn't draw level in the game. Milinkovic-Savic pulling off a couple of really good saves. But we did continue to press, and we did finally put the ball in the back of the net. Konstantelius playing the ball in behind for Tammy Abraham to finish. But Milinkovic-Savic in a man-of-the-match performance continued to hold us at bay in the second half. Despite that, I was certain that Ismail Assar had won the game for us late on, only for him to crack his shot against the bar. So I think we have to consider that 2 points lost rather than a point gained, and that's all the more painful because Aston Villa lost 2-0 to Newcastle United, so we had a chance to make up 3 of those 9 points that we needed. And not only that, but 3 players got injured in that game. Chris Richards, Joe Bellingham, and Adam Wharton all going down with knocks, 2 of which are broken toes. Adam Wharton and Joe Bellingham both suffering a broken toe injury. They'll be out for the remainder of the season. Chris Richards, just a bruised shoulder. He'll be out for just 5 days. So Chris Richards is fit enough to go against Leicester at Selhurst Park. William Davidson comes into the starting lineup to replace the injured Adam Wharton, though. And Daichi Kamada retains, or regains rather, his place in the starting 11, and we drop more points. Ollie Skip scores the only goal that gives Leicester City the win at Selhurst Park. So unfortunately, it looks like it's going to be a pretty miserable end to the season. Just 2 games into the episode, our hopes of finishing top half are pretty much already dead in the water, and we have Liverpool coming up next. It was, of course, Liverpool that beat us in the Carabao Cup final, so I guess we have a bit of extra motivation for this one. So without further ado, let's head over to Selhurst Park and just try not to embarrass ourselves in our final featured game of the season.
Great game.
So this is kind of our last chance to ensure that our season doesn't just completely peter out. We managed to beat Liverpool at home, and I'd like to say avenge that Carabao Cup final defeat, but I think that would be a stretch. But regardless, if we can beat Liverpool at home, I think we would at least have some kind of a moral victory. A shallow one, though it might be. But Liverpool, again, as they did in that Carabao Cup final, get off to a quick start and already look dangerous. It's a shame that the season is ending the way that it is, because we really shouldn't feel like we've had a disappointing year, but it's impossible not to. We've made a final, we've made a semi-final, and we've improved our league position almost certainly. There is still a chance that we finish... Actually, I don't think there is a chance that we finish in 14th. I think we are mathematically guaranteed to improve on our league position by finishing 13th or above. It doesn't look like we're finishing much above 13th. But improvement is improvement. Oh, God. Good block. Good block, Maxence Lacroix. Completely sold out for the block with Chris Richards. And the ball's just squared as the Liverpool strikers lining up to be the first on the score sheet. Good save by Dean Henderson. And Trevor Chalobah finds Constantelius. Chalobah with the captain's armband today in Adam Wharton's absence. So he's taken on a big role after making his move from Chelsea permanent last summer. Roscoe Torres puts it into a dangerous area. Koleosho was there. Tammy Abraham in the vicinity too. As Szoboszlai finds Luis Diaz. Cody Gakpo. Chiesa on the right-hand side for Liverpool as well. He's been a problem for us in a Liverpool shirt, to say the least. Roscoe Torres loses out. Chiesa once more. And it's a good challenge. Jefferson Lerma in the side today as well, which is something of a rarity. Joe Bellingham also out with injury. That's 2 somewhat significant injuries he's had in a Crystal Palace shirt. So he's not been on the field really anywhere close to as much as we would have liked. since he arrived from Sunderland in January of season 1. But it is very much looking like we're not going to be able to spend any more than 10 million on any individual player in the summer. And we will be losing a couple of centre midfielders. Will Hughes is one. It's looking very much like Czech Decore is going to be another. Czech Decore has handed in a transfer request. And it's understandable because he's a good player. He's a young player as well, younger than I realised earlier in the series. I thought he was up towards 30, but really he's only in his mid-20s. So he wants to play a little bit more football. That'll open up some additional game time for the likes of Joe Bellingham, especially since Daichi Kamada is a little on the older side. And we certainly want to groom Joe Bellingham to take over from Daichi Kamada and form a formidable young pairing in centre midfield alongside Adam Wharton. There's even the chance that Daichi Kamada leaves this summer. Great save, Dean Henderson. And actually, that may not be the worst idea. Tammy Abraham. Oh, Luca Koleosho to his right. Couldn't quite get the pass away. So Daichi Kamada not going to have too many more seasons of high-level football left in him. And has had another very good season. That's 2 excellent seasons he's had for us. So if the big club comes knocking, then... Oh, that's well worked. That's well worked. 1-0 Liverpool. If the big club comes knocking, then I don't think we can deny him a move away from Selhurst Park, since we are just going to be finishing mid-table again. We are not in Europe next season. And that really would open up a spot in centre midfield for Joe Bellingham. But Chiesa, clinical finish, open to scoring for Liverpool. And this is what we were worried about. We needed basically to win all of our games in the month of May. And then hope Aston Villa, well, count on Aston Villa to drop as many points as possible. They have already dropped points against Newcastle. But immaterial at this stage, with only a point to show. It's another good cross, put into a dangerous area. Tammy Abraham can't win it. Mamardashvili comes out to claim. Liverpool currently top of the Premier League as well. We will, of course, go through all of the standings in all of the different competitions at the end of the episode, as well as get to the awards. We are going to be promoting some youth players from the academy to the first team as well. There's a number of players who look like they could be decent future Crystal Palace players. We will be checking in on, I want to say, Adeyemi Akpan. Akpan is certainly a surname. Could say Dean Henderson. And I believe his first name is Adeyemi. But he's been the only player we've promoted from the Youth Academy so far, and he's been out on loan this season, so we'll see how well he's progressed. Constantelius has certainly developed over the course of the second half of the season after a pretty slow start in a Crystal Palace shirt. Luca Koleosho has also been excellent. Will Tammy Abraham get there? Yes, he will. Can he squeeze it in? He can't. Hits the side netting. Mamardashvili came all the way out from his line to claim. Tammy Abraham beat him there. And he was slow to regain the ideal positioning on his goal line, or at least on his near post, Mamardashvili. And it looked for a moment as though Tammy Abraham might be able to squeeze it in at the near post. Does end up hitting the side netting though. William Davidson in that Daichi Kamada role today. And he is on the ball now. Trying to squeeze it through to Tammy Abraham. He's really out of position today, William Davidson. Or at least not playing in the ideal role. Centre midfield is now his primary position. He was a CDM at first, and it's taken a while to train him to become an actual centre midfielder. Good save in the end from Dean Henderson. I was waiting for him to come off his line, and he just wasn't. But Davidson is now a true centre midfielder. We did want to retrain him to play Oh my God, hits the post. To play centre-back at one point as well, but the position changes were slightly bugged earlier in the year. We couldn't make that change. I believe that has now been fixed after title update 5, though. Lacroix just stands Cody Gakpo up. Still manages to wriggle away and get the shot off, though. Dean Henderson, another big save at his near post. One of the players in contention for not just fans player of the season, great block, Maxence Lacroix, but also managers player of the season, Dean Henderson. Back-to-back years, really, that's got to be a yellow. Back-to-back years he's been in with a shout for managers player of the season. You will have to stay tuned to the end of the episode to see if he does win it this year. It ended up going to Daniel Munoz last year. I think there's probably no prizes for guessing who fans player of the year is going to be, though. Personally, because it's been voted on in a poll, so if you voted in that poll, I'm sure you saw the results. Good save again, Dean Henderson. But even if you haven't seen the poll, I'm sure there are no prizes for guessing who fans player of the year is going to be. There's only one contender, really. There were a couple earlier in the season. But I think really, as the games have gone by, there's only one possible winner. Constantelius finds Koleosho. The pass was a little under hit, frustratingly. And we continue to do that. Davidson, great strike, wide. Great is probably a bit of an over-exaggeration. Decent enough strike. But we continue to under-hit passes to Luca Koleosho. He's the quickest player in the side. Run pretty close by Ismail Assar, to be fair, but I think Koleosho edges it. But we consistently under-hit passes to him. William Davidson's not going to get there. And Szoboszlai drives towards our back line. Slips it in behind for Luis Diaz, who cuts inside. Chris Richards just standing up Cody Gakpo. And Jefferson Lerma will get the foot in. Roscoe Torres on the left-hand side. Constantelius to stretch Ibrahima Konate. Couldn't quite find Tammy Abraham initially. There's Davidson. Daniel Munoz will try run from range this time, and it is blocked by a Liverpool body, by a Liverpool hand, apparently. So Constantelius is going to give way to Roscoe Torres, who's going to try the free kick from just outside the area. Roscoe Torres, not one of our primary set-piece takers, but we get a second opportunity here, and he actually just lays it off to William Davidson. And the shot once more is blocked. Daniel Munoz dropping into left-back to cover, but he's been beaten far too easily by Chiesa. Chris Richards thankfully holds his position a little better and forces the early shot. And Dean Henderson spots Koleosho immediately. Tammy Abraham, one touch, still going, just about. Finds Davidson once more. Tammy Abraham, not really the position that we want Abraham to be in with the ball. Jefferson Lerma. Roscoe Torres on the far side. Lobbed in behind for Constantelius, who won't quite get there. And we'll leave one on Mamardashvili, who rolls it out inside his own 6-yard box. Unorthodox. I think he just wants to get the ball out of his hands. Worried Constantelius was going to continue in his attempts to beat him to the ball. Tammy Abraham once more with his back to goal. And again, not really a position that we want him in. Decent enough cross by by Koleosho. Jefferson Lerma finds Roscoe Torres, who looks to create one final opportunity of the first half, but it's an incredible challenge by Trent. And Roscoe Torres is still on the deck. So whether that's a fourth injury in 2 games, we will have to wait and see. Hopefully we see Roscoe Torres emerge for the second half, but just a 1-0 deficit at this stage. Could certainly be worse, but Still not really what we've been hoping for. So Roscoe Torres does not emerge for the second half. And once more, Milan van Ewijk will be filling in at left wing back. I can't really see a way that the end of our season could have gone any worse. We were set up for such success here in Season 2. A chance to finish in the top half of the Premier League, to win the Carabao Cup, to be in a European competition following Season 3, to be able to add a low 80s overall player to the side. Good save, Dean Henderson. Something that we have very few of at the moment. We have a couple of 81s. I'm not even sure we have anybody. Or Daichi Kamada, actually, I think must be in the low 80s. I'm not sure if he's even an 83 overall. But an 82 to 85 overall player would have been the reward if we finished in the top half. Koleosho gets the shot away straight at Marmadashvili. But that's not going to happen either. So the potential for such success, but it's all going to slip away. Abraham pressuring Kanate. Abraham has certainly been a bright spot of the season. And again, we can't really talk season long. It's been April and May have been disappointing. Up until then, we've had an excellent season. And it's just the case that the April and May that we've had have prevented us from being quite as successful as we could have been. But I think we have to take a realistic approach and a holistic approach. We have to look at the overall incredible football. What a save, Dean Henderson. Szoboszlai just took an age to finish there. And the seas have completely parted. What a save again, Dean Henderson. Two unbelievable stops back to back. And Dean Henderson might just be playing himself into manager's player of the season in this game. Incredible stops. Really good football from Liverpool. Szoboszlai, I think, let us off the hook a little bit there. Constantelius finds Van Ewijk, lobbed up towards the back post. Marmadashvili claims. Yeah, I think we have to take a realistic and a holistic look at our season and consider the development of the club overall. Of course, it's disappointing we didn't win the Carabao Cup when we made the final. Of course, it's disappointing that we didn't even make it to the FA Cup final when we had by far the easiest draw of the semis. And again, of course, it's disappointing that we're not going to finish in the top half, but compare that with how we did Season 1. Getting knocked out of the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup almost at the first time of asking in each competition. I think we won one game between the two competitions last year and finished in 14th. I think we have to look at the development of players like Roscoe Torres, like Adam Wharton, like Constantelius and Koleosho over the second half of the season. Like William Davidson as well, to be fair. I think we have to look at the role that Chris Richards has played this season, stepping up into a much more significant role after the departure of Mark Gahey. I think we have to look at the addition of Tammy Abraham, who's been an absolute revelation after we really struggled to score goals in Season 1. And then again, I think we have to look at the Youth Academy. And we certainly will be doing that at the end of the episode, but you will see we're making strides there as well. That's a horrific challenge. Nothing. No card. Absolutely outrageous. I'm pretty sure... Oh, my days. Oh, good Lord. If we concede here, just one of you. And we do. Oh, my God. Oh, he's offside. He's offside. Thank God. Still doesn't know. Now he does. That would have been a horrific goal to concede. From the free kick in your own defensive third, just pass the ball straight to the opposition and then just allow them to walk in and get a shot away. Awful defending. Koleosho in behind. Nobody up in support. Let's just fire it across the keeper. We'll fire it straight at the keeper. And there was very little else there Kolyoshin could have done. I'm not sure if we need to change our approach in Season 3. Whether we should go with the 4 at the back and try to play with a little more control in games. This has well worked. Tammy Abraham can't get there. Munoz. Oh, I was looking for Van Eyck on the far side. I'm not sure if we should try and play with a little bit more control. Play with an additional midfielder rather than an additional centre-back. Try and keep possession a little more in games. We have, of course, relied so heavily on the counter-attack. Look at that from Konstantelius. What a ball. Tammy Abraham again, straight at Mamardashvili, and he's back on his feet to make an incredible second stop. Excellent goalkeeping. How Tammy Abraham even got the shot away on the second attempt, I'm not sure. But Mamardashvili somehow gets hands to it once more. Chris Richards can't win it. Van Eyck. Oh, it's just poor. We're trying to force it. And it's not there. Yeah, we've relied so heavily on the counter-attack. And to be fair, I think it has served us well. We've not been the best defensively this season. That's another poor pass. We've scored a lot more goals, but we've not been the best defensively. That's why I was so desperate to finish top half. So we could bring in another really good defender, or maybe even two, and really try and solidify that back five. Continue to play the way that we have been going forward. Another good run in behind from Tammy Abraham. Van Eyck finds him this time. Should probably have squared it to Kolyosho there. So a couple changes as Konstantelius comes off for Ismail Assar. Tammy Abraham comes off for Wilf Zaha. And Czech Decore comes on in centre midfield for the injured Jefferson Lerma. So it does look like it's going to be another injury here to finish the season. Another injury in centre midfield too. And it is very much looking like this is going to be the final time Czech Decore, or one of the final times at least. We do still have 2 additional Premier League games after this one, but one of the final times Czech Decore pulls on a Crystal Palace shirt. Another unbelievable save by Dean Henderson, by the way. Ismail Assar cuts inside. Good feet. There's Czech Decore. Finds Konstantelius, but can't quite get there to poke the ball round the corner for Milan Van Eyck. Konstantelius, though, with Zaha in the box. Can't quite find him, but it does bounce off one Liverpool defender and onto another as they try to clear. Munoz. Decore strikes from range. Straight at Mamardashvili. Again, he's rolled it out incredibly deep. But again, gets away with it. Cody Gakpo. Really nicely worked again from Liverpool. They've played some really nice football today, to be fair. They do lose out to Czech Decore, though. Konstantelius far side. Drops nicely into his path. Czech Decore once more. William Davidson. I thought the pass was perfect. The run was perfect. And I thought Czech Decore just slipped it through for Davidson. But it was cut out well by Liverpool. Good challenge, Lacroix, but he does take a tumble alongside Chiesa. Szoboszlai is all the way out on the right wing for Liverpool. And he does lose out. Lacroix. Van Eyck. Even a draw here would be something of a moral victory. Is Konstantelius onside? It looks like it. Can't cut inside, though. It's going to fall for Chiesa once more. Van Eyck with the pace to keep up. Doesn't quite win the ball in the challenge, though. Oh, it's really good feet from Chiesa. Gakpo. Carried away again by Dean Henderson. Has to be our man of the match from today. Szoboszlai to take the corner. He does go short. Chiesa once more. Good block. Trevor Chalobah trying late into the path of Konstantelius, but Alexander-Arnold nips in ahead of time. Flash of bodies just outside the box. And it looks like a Liverpool player now that has gone down with an injury of some sort. Lacroix finds Davidson. Sarr wants it, but he's gone too early. Either he's gone too early or I took too long playing the ball, which I think is more fair. Saw Sarr with his arm up, wanting the ball in behind. Just took me a tick too long to play the pass. Davidson. Munoz. Decore. Konstantelius. Again, we just can't thread the needle. Gakpo drops it into the path of Chiesa. Van Eyck deals with it. Decore drives. Has to wait for support though, and it does come in the form of Maxence Lacroix. He switches the ball to Ismaila Sarr. Daniel Munoz is up in support. William Davidson. Straight at Mamardashvili, and again he's back on his feet to make a second save. Unbelievable. How have we not scored there? Would have been a last-minute equaliser. I don't know how he's made the first save, let alone the second. Absolutely incredible goalkeeping. I think both goalkeepers were probably man of the match for their respective teams in this one. Fantastic performance from Dean Henderson at one end and some unreal saves from Mamardashvili at the other. But we drop more points. There's 1 from a possible 9. Leaves only 6 remaining. And I don't fancy our chances of getting more than 3 from those either. I think those 3 points could come against Leeds as we travel to Elland Road for our 4th game of the episode, and indeed they do. Tammy Abraham grabs 2, Wilf Zaha grabs 1, and Jack Harrison grabs a consolation for Leeds. So with one final game left to play here in Season 2, I figured, why not try a back 4? So we're going to be going with Munoz, Chalobah, Lacroix, and Mitchell across a back 4 today. Decore and Davidson, 2 holding players. Konstantelius and Koleosho will play either side of Daichi Kamada in that number 10 role that's probably a little more familiar to him. And then Tammy Abraham will lead the line. The formation change paid off immediately. Luca Koleosho bursting in behind and being brought down in the box by Sergio Reguilon. Reguilon did stay on the pitch, fortunately so, but Tammy Abraham dispatched the penalty to make it 1-0 early. And just 5 minutes later, it would be Daichi Kamada and Luca Koleosho combining again. This time, Koleosho pounced on a rebound after Kamada's initial shot to make it 2-0 8 minutes in. And though Reguilon would stay on the field earlier, Czech Decore would not stay on the field after this rash late challenge on Odobert. But going down to 10 men didn't stop us from getting a 3rd goal late in the game. Zaha finding Ahamada, who buried it past Vicario to secure the victory. So we do manage to finish the season on a high after all. 3-0 victory over Tottenham Hotspur, as well as that win over Leeds, does give us 6 points from our final 2 games of the season. And that could have a significant influence on the way the table finishes up, because the couple of teams just ahead of us in the table had some difficult fixtures heading into that last game of the Premier League season. And Fulham did lose to Liverpool, but Brighton managed a draw with Newcastle, which means we finished level on points with Brighton, our rivals, in 11th position, just ahead of us in the table. Both finish on 48. A minus 11 goal difference sees us finish below them. We scored 47 goals, which is a fine tally. Not amazing. We conceded 58, which is far too many. At the top of the Premier League table, it is Liverpool who secure victory. 88 points sees them win the Premier League and the Carabao Cup at the very least. Manchester City finished 2nd. Arsenal, Manchester United round out the Champions League places. Spurs grab 5th. Newcastle just behind them, and Chelsea in 7th. Brentford finish all the way up in 8th in the end. Down in the relegation zone, it is Burnley who will go back down to the Championship. Everton finally make the drop to the Championship as well. They've been threatening it for a couple of seasons now. And Leeds United go back down too. And it's going to be Nottingham Forest, Luton Town and Ipswich all to come straight back up to the Premiership, I believe. So in addition to the Premier League title, Liverpool also win the FA Cup 2-1 over Brentford, as well as the Carabao Cup. So they do the treble, the domestic treble. And then in the Champions League, it's Barcelona 2-1 over Frankfurt. We saw Frankfurt win the Europa League oh, this is the Super Cup. My mistake. That will be why Frankfurt are competing in that one. It's actually going to be a Manchester City PSG Champions League final. And then in the Europa League, Manchester United overcome Chelsea in an all-English European final. Your top scorers here in Season 2, Erling Haaland, of course, 35 goals, 11 more than the next closest player. Dominic Solanke on 24. Isak got 23. Jota and Saka, both for Arsenal, get 20 plus goals. Tammy Abraham was close. He scored 19. Bruno Fernandes finishes top of the assist charts. Do we have any Crystal Palace players in there? We do. We have Daichi Kamada at 15. He's on 6 assists. And Luka Koleosho down on 25. He got 5. And the Brentford keeper, Marcin Bulka, I guess you would pronounce that, finishes as the Golden Glove with 12 clean sheets. Dean Henderson got 8 of his own. Overall in the Premier League, Tammy Abraham had an incredible season. He averaged 7 out of 10 in terms of a match rating. He scored 19 goals with 3 assists. Really, really good season for him at Selhurst Park. Daichi Kamada, 9 goals, 6 assists. 5 goals for Ismaila Sarr is more than I thought he got. 4 and 3 for the captain, Adam Wharton. 3 goals and 5 assists for Koleosho. Couple of each for Tyrick Mitchell, and then goals for Nketiah, Zaha, Ahamada at the end there against Tottenham. Trevor Chalobah grabbed 1, and Constant Elias only grabbed 1 goal, but he did get 7 assists. It was an equally good performance from Abraham in the FA Cup. 2 goals, 2 assists for him. Wharton grabbed 3, 2 goals for Wilf Zaha in the FA Cup. Lacroix got on the score sheet there, and Koleosho grabbed a goal and an assist of his own. And it was clearly Tammy Abraham that was behind our success in the Carabao Cup, allowing us to reach the final. 7 goals and 2 assists there. 3 goals and 1 assist for Kamada. Ismaila Sarr and Nketiah, Wharton, Joe Bellingham all grabbed a goal each. And with a total of 28 goals and 7 assists in 44 games across all competitions, there was no other choice for fans' player of the season but Tammy Abraham. Manager's player of the season in the end does go to Dean Henderson. It was a close run thing between a handful of players, but with an average rating of 6.86 and 11 clean sheets, he's really been a solid fixture at the back across 2 seasons now. Young player of the season goes to Luka Koleosho, who really came on over the second half of the year, as did Giannis Konstantelias, who wins most improved player of the season, and he grabbed a massive 11 assists. Goal of the season goes to Daichi Kamada for finishing off this counter-attack. And I think this wins goal of the season simply because it was so emblematic of the way that we played this year. So all that we have left to do here at the end of Season 2 is to take stock of the squad. Daichi Kamada is indeed an 83 overall. Dean Henderson, Daniel Munoz, Trevor Chalobah, Maxence Lacroix, Czech Decore all up to an 81 overall, as is Adam Wharton actually as well. Chris Richards didn't quite develop as much as I would have hoped here in Season 2, but he is a 79. Tyrick Mitchell up to a 78. Koleosho, Konstantelias up to a 78 each as well. Where is Adeyemi Akpan? I do want to check in on him. Only a 64 overall, so maybe not as much development from the youngster as we may have hoped over the course of his loan spell. There are a number of players we will be losing from the squad this year as well. So Jefferson Lerma, Rob Holding, Odson Edward, Killian Phillips, Ahamada, and David Ozzo are all going to be departing the club this summer as their contracts expire. However, in addition to the summer transfer market, we are going to be adding a number of players from the youth squad to the first team. Albert Oliver is a 6'6", 18-year-old goalkeeper, 66 overall at just 18 years of age. Not spectacular potential, but solid enough. And he does have 65 diving, which is something of a rarity. 5 play styles for George Haigh, something like that. He is English rather than, I don't know, Welsh, Irish. But finesse shot, chip shot, incisive pass, tiki-taka, rapid, Looks like a really solid player with a 79 to 93 potential. Plays up front. Arthur Downey looks solid as well. 75 to 94 potential. Couple of play styles for him. 85 pace already at just 17 years of age. He will be joining the first team, as will Adrian Dreschler, the highest potential of them all. 83 to 94. 4-star skill moves. 3 play styles, including anticipated defensive play style. So something of a box-to-box midfielder. Not blessed with pace, but does look like he's blessed with technical ability. The remaining players I'm undecided on. Benjamin Steiner looks good, as does Austin Edwards, as does Timo Wagner, as does Alexander Meyer. They all play centre midfield though. So I don't really want to promote all of them to the first team at this stage. Tobias Reiter looks fine, but not spectacular. 83 pace at just 18 years old, but only a 74 to 80 potential and no play styles. Christopher Schmidt looks pretty good. 79 pace, 83 to 89 potential, only a 59 overall at 18 years of age, but we are short on fullbacks, so he will be promoted. And Tom Schroeder is a winger who I think is going to be promoted here as well. 80 to 86 potential, 78 pace at 18 years of age, 3 play styles. We could certainly use another winger in the side. Walter Haas looks good as well, actually. We're promoting him as well. However, the centre midfielders, Dominic Frank, we are not promoting because he's 15. Dominic Frank, we will be promoting when he comes of age. However, the centre midfielders, I'm undecided on at this stage. We will carry them forward into Season 3. And I almost forgot about our custom objectives. We set ourselves 5 custom objectives at the start of the season, and we managed to complete 4 of them. Failing to finish in the top half of the Premier League does mean that not only will we not be signing a player 82 to 85 overall, but we can spend no more than 10 million on any individual player in the next transfer window. And that's especially frustrating because making the quarterfinal of at least one of the domestic cup competitions means we can convince Steve Parish to increase the next transfer budget by not only 20%, but also by a further 5%, thanks to the fact that we did not sign more than 3 of those expiring contracts to extensions. Playing Adam Wharton in 75% of our games means that we can extend his contract, give him a crucial squad role if he doesn't have one already, and we'll give him a big pay rise. And finally, playing under 21s in 90 or more games this season means that we can sign a 5-star youth scout to our youth academy. So I have to imagine that Steve Parish will be happy enough with our performance this season, but it can't hurt to check in and find out. And I think the way the season ended has soured his opinion somewhat. He says overall he's satisfied with the progress made this season, but we do need to keep pushing forward. Narrowly missing our league objective means there's still work to be done, and he is expecting us to fully meet the top half target next season and continue to make strides. So we tailed off a little towards the end of the season, but overall a very positive campaign. We improved on our league position. We made the final of the Carabao Cup, the semi-final of the FA Cup. Several of our young players developed. We spent our money wisely in the transfer market. There's not too much to complain about, but we are going to have our work cut out ahead of Season 3. I think it's do or die in Season 3. I think it's now or never. Not only do we have to secure top half of the Premier League, but I think we have to secure European football next season if we're going to keep our job and if the season is going to continue. So we will look forward to beginning that journey in the next episode, in the next season. I hope to see you there. Take it easy.